Welcome back. Minus one finger, right? Broke my finger yesterday. That's why there was no video. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Thank God it was me and not my new guy. So we're going to cover like open dialogue with customers, especially when things are going sideways, and how important that is. All right. We're going to cover the status of that engine job, which is not down on the ground, which is great. There's the old engine and transmission sitting there. And we're going to talk about some other cars that got towed in today. Two tow-ins. So talk about dialogue and how this convertible top, this thing, man, golly, dude. I hate convertible top work. We usually don't do it. And when she called about her problems, and I told her, I said, well, we can go after the ABS concern. She had an ABS light on and a cruise control not working. I said, well, we're going to go after the ABS fault first because I want to make sure that that's fixed because I can deactivate cruise controls in a lot of different systems. So we fixed that, put a sensor in it. It's all good. Cruise is working. So that makes me feel good. So I haven't drank a beer in so long. I think it's time for a beer today. Somewhat successful. I'm gonna grab this. Daddy's thirsty. Okay, so I told her, I said, I want you to call this other company in Fayetteville that does convertible tops. It's the only company I know that will get into convertible tops, it's CNS Tops. And she brought it to me first to fix that stuff. And I had my tech, I said, just take a look and see if you want to. I'm not asking my tech to work for free. I'm like, we do a fault scan on every car. There was a fault in there for a window motor Hall effect power output. And when he activated the left rear window, it sounded like the motor was clicking. Brrr. Well, he took it all apart. We sold the window regulator and told her, I said, this has to move for the top to move. And we sold the regulator, $968 installed. I gave her the option for a Dorman and an OEM. And the OEM was about $600 or $700 more, and she chose the Dorman. I was like, all right, man, I'm only giving you a 1-year warranty on this. I'm not going to sit here and play freaking Russian roulette with Dorman window regulators. God, those things are garbage. So tech pulls it apart. Yeah, at some point in time, he plugged the regulator in a motor, and the car wasn't fixed. And I see him over here, like, moving around. So leave him alone. And when he comes out, when he has some more data, he was like, all right, this is what we got. We got something else going on. The clicking is coming from the sunroof control module, or the power top module, and it lives in the same cavity as the window. And there's a relay in there that's buzzing when you activate it. So I called the customer, told her that we had good news on this for the ABS concern. And then I said, this is what we found on this window. It doesn't need a window regulator. The buzzing was coming from a module, from a relay that's inside the module when we activate that. So it sounds like the window is clicking, like when the gears are stripped and burned up. And it's not what it is. So I explained what we're doing. And I also told her, I said, I know you're wrenching this car a little bit. And I want to talk through some of this stuff and give you some ideas. And so I just kind of said, this is going to be an open dialogue. I want a conversation about this. And this is what I talked about. I said, we are pretty sure we need a power top module in this car. They are available. I don't know the ETA on it. I'm going to say that the module is probably about $500, okay? You don't need a window regulator right now, all right? Because I can make the window move up and down. But there is a fault for the Hall effect power, and I don't know what circuit's being monitored, if it's the return of the power out to it from the module. I'm like, you still could have a problem with the Hall effect sensor inside the window motor. So as of right now, though, we're not getting the activity out of it. Even with the new regulator in there, it doesn't move. So here's what I want to do. I want to put this module in, and if this module does not fix this car, I want to keep your bill the same for the approved amount, dollars-wise, with the new module, without the motor. And then I will continue testing on this car and absorb the cost of the module in testing fees. So your bill won't change the same, but we will continue working on the car basically for that cost. And she's like, I think that's totally fair, right? And I'm like, okay. So then I kind of went into why that bothers me a little bit. And I'm like, shops, I don't want to be the shop that swaps parts, but there comes a point when we exhaust our skill set, right? And I think our skill set is pretty decent when it comes to electronics. I'm probably a little bit stronger in electric than my tech, but he's no slouch, okay? So without having like a proper circuit diagram, especially for inside the module to see how the module works, I'm not good with like EEPROM work and then getting into a circuit board. Okay. Like I know what transistors are and condensers and relays and that kind of stuff, but ask me to do like circuit analysis inside and follow traces and stuff, or like start putting pinpoint, really sharp little things in there to kind of measure that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into that. The relay can be switched out, but it's a 10-pin micro relay. And I'm like, I can desolder it if I really wanted to, but I don't know if that's the only problem. It scares me with the Hall effect power output. And I don't know how that relay works. And I can't see the trace on that to trace it back to that relay. With it clicking like it's doing, it kind of probably needs a module. So anyway, the whole point of all this story is, if you have an open dialogue with the customer, just don't automatically assume that things are going to go sideways and you're going to just take a bath on everything you work on because you care too much and you're like, I can't charge for this, I can't charge for that. You can charge for it if you're open with the customer and they know what they're paying for. They're paying for us to fix the car or diagnose the problem further, okay? And it helped, like I said, she was like wrenches on this car a little bit. She knows that it's got like issues. She also knows that the amount of money she's putting into it isn't worth it either, but she wants a convertible, and you're not going to be able to buy another convertible with 66,000 miles on it for how much the repairs are. So just because the repairs are going to be more than the car doesn't mean it's not worth it. So, and the car's in really good shape. I think it's an 06 or 08 Sebring convertible, and it's definitely worth putting some dollars into. It's a pretty nice car. It's not a toilet, thank God. So that's kind of like the story on that one, having the dialogue and explaining that stuff. And back to what I was saying before, like I don't like shops that swap parts, but there comes a point where it kind of makes sense sometimes. And if it doesn't make sense and you don't explain it to the customer in a certain way, like the truth, then that becomes a problem, right? And that's where the shops kind of deserve to get slammed if they're not open about that stuff. And from last video, I told you, I can't stand the shops that go around and slam other shops. There was a post recently on the Auto Shop Hangout on Facebook, and he started slamming the shop for putting a thermostat and 2 coolant sensors in a Honda Civic. And he's like, there's no fault code written down. There's no description of everything. And regardless of the cost, like they're not even putting OEM parts in. I looked at this shop that had the receipt that he took a picture of. The parts that they were selling, I don't care what brands they were, the selling price is way below what I would sell it for anyway. And the labor operation was 6. So there's at least 5 other lines on that piece of paper showing, and that might have had what the actual testing and stuff was done on it, right? For you just to automatically assume that they're just throwing parts at it to fix the car, I mean, yeah, it's possible, right? 2 coolant temp sensors and a thermostat, it's likely, right? But you don't know. So surprisingly, the post didn't go the way that he did. There's only like 1 out of 20 commenters that were like, yeah, these shops are terrible. Everyone else is like, you don't know the whole story. That's the point. 5 other labor operations. You don't know what testing was done. You don't know what was presented to the customer. You don't know the communication aspect of it. So that kills me, dude. The shop that kills me the most is the wizard guy, right? Car wizard. That dude gets underneath my skin, man. And I'm not saying it's because he's an incompetent technician. Like, I have no idea what his skill level is. He might be better than me, right? It's the constant, just tearing down people in the industry. And, dude, I just don't get it. Everyone's always too expensive. Everyone's always doing this wrong and doing that wrong. And it's always the shops. And he owns a shop, and it's like his shop is for DIY guys. And it's like that I can't stand watching this stuff anymore. I had to like block him. He sounds like a nice guy. And it's just like I'm not dealing with that. So again, you don't know the whole story. All right, moving on from this other one. This Ford Fusion that we've been dealing with for the last couple days, going through it. We got it running last night. Tech stayed a little bit late. He wanted to get it running. We had to erase keep alive memory, do some other resets. This kind of got, I mean, we're not in the free and clear on it. We're collecting money and the car is leaving, right? But I think there's some secondary problems. And I pre-warned the customer that. And it's nothing that we did. That's why I'm letting it go. So this Ford Fusion, if you didn't watch the other videos, a mobile mechanic, one that I know, worked on this car, did a water pump for him because it was leaking. Told him you need a timing belt on this car. He put it all together. Then a couple days later, did the timing belt on it. After he did the timing belt on this Ford Fusion, it's a 2019 1.5 turbo, I think. Yeah, turbo. He did the timing belt on it the second time, and the car didn't start. From what I understand, it had a crankshaft sensor fault. He threw parts at it, didn't fix anything. Once in a while, it might get a pop. We had to retime it. Timing was out. Had to retime it. As soon as he got it retimed, did a compression test on it, 120 PSI across all 4 cylinders. I put a scope on the crank sensor to make sure it was working. It has an aftermarket crank sensor in it. Did the testing, followed the fault testing logic. The reluctor on the harmonic balancer had a very tiny dent in it. Very tiny. Could not pick it up on the scope. Perfect scope signal as far as I could tell. Now, I didn't look at amplitude, which is one thing you're supposed to be doing, right? All I looked at was pattern only, because I was expecting to see a dropout from where it had a tiny little ding in it. According to service information, 1 millimeter bend will cause an issue. So we ordered a new harmonic balancer with the reluctor ring that's included and a new Ford crank sensor in it. Put it in, it started up, and it ran kind of terrible. After some time, it ran better. Tech did some relearns on it, erased the cam, keep alive memory, and some other stuff. And then this morning, the car was actually running pretty good. Once in a while, you get a stumble and idle. Cylinder 4, if you're watching the power balance on cylinder 4 through the Ford software of the Autel, it's consistently on the low side. Not all the time, but if you have a miss, it's always on that cylinder. When it starts running rough and more often, that's when the idle starts kicking up and tries to compensate. So I called the customer and told him, hey, it's running, it runs good, it's drivable. We put about 12 miles on it and it seems to be fine. I said there's a secondary problem, I think. There's no fault codes that are showing up. I am not going into it any further until either the car becomes undrivable or there's a fault code, because I already spent too much time on this car. And I told him, I said, we're losing money on this car already. He was billed for 7 hours, which is slightly over what our normal timing belt and water pump would be on that, or timing belt job would be on that car. There's a little bit of diag on top of the R&R of that stuff. And that was a problem on how to, like, I don't know how to present that any better than we did. It came in, we authorized 3 hours of teardown time to check the timing. Timing was off. We had to adjust the timing. There was not enough time, obviously, to put it back together. And so we had to call him back and say, this is what we found. The timing was off. To put it back together again, it's an additional like 4 hours. And then that includes some testing time afterwards, because we know that it's still not starting, because we tried to start it while it was disassembled and there's another problem. So that's why the first teardown time wasn't the entire timing belt job, right? This is where I didn't know what to do. So I ordered the crank sensor and the reluctor. I was a little scared about putting it in, but we kind of ran out of all testing stuff, and it was to the point where I'm like, I got to put parts in it. And we did put it in and it started. So we called it good, even though I didn't have scope data backing it up as far as I could see. So I did not call the customer on those parts. I decided that if we miss diag, I'm not charging them for the parts because I didn't want to call them back like 7 times before the car's even running. So it fixed it. I put the parts on the work order without letting him know. Now, I did not charge full matrix. I charged dealer list price on it because I didn't call him ahead of time, and because I wanted it running. And he was cool. He's like, "Oh, you got it running, great." His bill was like, I don't know, almost $2,000. And my GP per hour on that job only came out to $166 an hour. That's if my technician spent 7 hours on that car. And I know, well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he spent more time in that because he's not punching in and out on the jobs properly, which I told him, I said, this is the reason why I need to do it. I need to be able to keep track of these times so I can get more money from the customer. Sometimes we'll reduce it, but only if it makes sense. So, but having a dialogue with him, setting correct expectations, it helped. He wanted me to keep on working this car. I said, dude, I don't want to work on this car anymore. And like, I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm like, I'm coming back behind. I'm like, I don't want to work on this car. And that's why I told him, I said, you need to go to Ford if anything else happens. He doesn't want to. Oh, you fixed it. No one else could fix it. I'm like, you didn't try anybody else, right? So don't want to work on this car. So I need to maintain about $180 an hour to pay the bills, right? So 166, yeah, it's better than nothing. But it would have been cheaper for me to give the guy, I don't know, $140 and tell him to take it somewhere else. So it would have been the same, right? Maybe even more because I know I spent more time on it. So dialogue with that one. Go back inside. We got the tools needed today for the Tundra axle. That has got to get done. I'm leaving my technician alone on Friday to hopefully get that out of here. And he's requesting my help because he hasn't had good luck doing those axle bearings. I haven't either. I've always outsourced them to my machine shop. So that's what the plan is for Saturday. I'm sorry, for Friday. We have 4 cars coming in tomorrow. All of them checked in. We have a brake bleeder that we have to repair that broke when we did a service on. The car came from up north. It was stuck. I don't know how bad it was to break, but it broke. I told her, I said, I'm going to repair the bleeder. I want to repair the bleeder for free if I can get it out. If I have to replace calipers, I want to do it at cost. And I still feel kind of slimy about that. But at the same time, I mean, the bleeder broke. Like, I don't know, man. I still kind of feel weird about it. I might still absorb it, but I don't know what to do with that one. I got a Jeep Liberty in here that lost the clutch. We got to look at that one and get that one evaluated. I had a CRV oil leak and a Forte for an eval, which I don't know what that's written up for. Probably a check engine light. My tech still has to do a Camry transmission service, a Civic transmission service tomorrow, and then probably going to have to split up some of these evals so we can get some of that stuff spread out because I need him on this Tundra tomorrow. Okay, let's talk about this Chevy Malibu. My technician, this is his 5th day of work. I put him in the office after work today. I said, let's talk. And he come in. I said, so what do you think, man? You've been here 5 days. And he said, dude, I love it. I love it. He said he went home, talks to his fiance. He said, I got a man's job, you know, because he's like, I'm doing stuff. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm moving up, right? That makes me feel really good. Boy, I tell you, his attitude is so good, bro. Like, so good. I'm really looking forward to growing him into an awesome technician. He's, you know, he doesn't have a lot of experience. That's okay. He can turn some bolts. I can point him to something and say, do that, and he does it. You know, so that's kind of good. We were doing this engine. I helped him, obviously, yesterday. We pulled the engine down, had it sitting on the ground. Now, we're doing a transmission, too, so that's why we pulled the whole subframe down. And we had it out. We started swapping parts over. Worked on it this afternoon. The engine's already hanging. Bolted in, subframes in, engine mounts are in. They got to tighten up the 2 torque mounts. And just assemble. Most of the swap stuff is done. Yeah, so it went really well. I broke my finger yesterday working on this darn thing. I only have 1 engine hoist, right? And I had the donor engines were sitting on the pallet. I had it propped up with some wood. We were putting the transmission's on, getting ready to put the starter in. Wasn't paying attention to where had my hand apparently, and one of the blocks of wood shifted. And the engine fell down about, I don't know, an inch or so. Right on top of my finger. I broke the tip of my ring finger off. Like the skin is not broke, just the bone is broke. And that was pretty sore. Cut my other finger up, kind of good. But it's sealed back together, so I'm not getting stitches. And I hate stitches in the tip of my fingers. So had to go to the ER yesterday. We drove 25 minutes away because the ER is that much better. And dude, everyone at that place was great. It was like Hope County Medical, First Medical or something. And that's a good place to go. So if you're a follower and you're local, don't go to Cape Fear. The place is terrible. I went to the ER back in when I was in the Army, onto the main hospital, and I was in that waiting area. Couldn't stand up straight because my spine was all messed up before I had surgery. I was waiting there for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, and it was on like a Saturday or Sunday or something. Some dude came in that hit himself in the freaking face with a sledgehammer, putting a tent stake in. His jaw was dislocated. And that dude was sitting outside, couldn't even talk, had to do triage through text message. And he was sitting out there for an hour or something, right? That dude obviously needs more help than I do. And because I could at least talk. And I said, yeah, I'm never going to get seen. I just left. So, yeah, Army. So what happens when you have freaking socialism and communists running your free medical, right? But anyway, so yeah, that's done. I don't know how long it's going to take to grow back together, if it ever does. I did an alignment today, and I got down off a ladder, and it was high. I was doing a toe adjustment, and I feel like sitting in the chair. And I got down off a ladder, and the back of this thing got caught on the top of the ladder, and it ripped forward and pulled whatever was growing back together out. And now the tip of my finger is like really clicky and suction cup sounding. So that's awesome. But yeah, man, I got nothing bad to say about my guy, dude. The engine's in here. Trans is in. He's happy as can be. I'm happy with the progress. So here's some thoughts on this, right? So when you have an apprentice, their labor would be considered, in my opinion, a fixed expense. Okay, you're not looking for production for that man or woman to buy from them, sell to the customer. The reason why technician labor is considered a cost of goods sold is that it's just like a part. You're buying something and you're reselling it. So in essence, if there's no work here, you don't need them, you can let them go, right? Or they're flat rate, right? It's a different way to look at that. And the way that you offset and keep track of that for your labor gross profit percentages, whatever your targets are, you buy their labor, you sell it to the customer. When you have an apprentice that is really, you can't really, when you're training all the time, it's hard to be able to do that with them. So I got to figure out how much time we're going to put into the training phase before we kind of release him and kind of go in there. So part of my duties is I'm writing up these things for this, so he knows like what the standards are in 30, 60, 90 days in order to progress in the job and make more money and that kind of stuff. So we have to get that figured out. And I'm thinking like a month of really working side by side so he gets warm and fuzzy. And then after that, we have to play to their strengths, and we will be keeping track of the hours, right? After about a month. I'm still not giving them like check engine lights and stuff, right? So maybe I will, and then I can go over there and help him go through some diags, right? So that's what's been weighing on my mind on that one. I did drop ProMotive for my recruiters. I mean, they found me my guy, okay, but they found me an apprentice. which is not ideal, but I had to make a hire. But I am in the middle of signing up with AIM, AIM, ran by Sarah Fraser and her team, and we're going to give them a shot on their recruiting stuff. That was a long process. It was like 10 pages or more where I had to go through like who I'm looking for, why I'm looking for. This is my shop. This is how we function. These are the things that we're bad at. This is what we're good at. So what's important to me. 10 pages of that. So I haven't gotten a response back. I sent it this morning. Came in kind of early. So we got to go through that. And then hopefully we can find another tech. I'm ready to start moving to find another technician here. Like we need 3 techs in the shop. So that's what we're kind of shooting for. Okay, enough rambling. We are at 25 minutes. That's not too bad. If you got some ideas for some content, let me know. But that's pretty much where we're at. The mood in the shop is great, man. We're doing really well. My wife / service advisor, she's doing pretty good. She's staying happy. We had some pretty crappy phone calls. Oh, let's talk about that for a minute. This is kind of fun. A guy called me today. A mechanic called me today. He's doing a radiator on his neighbor's car, and he called us up. I need the labor time for R&R and a radiator for 15 Maxima. She was like, what? Like, yeah, I'm a mechanic. I just don't know how much to charge. And she put him on hold. I picked up the phone ready to start, punching this dude through the phone. And they put the customer on the phone, and then he's asking. I said, is your mechanic calling me for a labor time? I said, I'm not giving you that. But I helped him. Customer education. Tell your mechanic to go sign up with Napa, even for my followers. If you are wrenching on the side and you want labor times, you don't want service information, which you should be wanting service information. If you just want to know labor times for stuff, go to Napa, set up a ProLink account. They will give you, I think it's either Mitchell or Motor Times. I can't remember which one it is. But you can go by VIN and whatever else. You can get labor times on these jobs, right? And that's what I told him. I said, dude, this is what you need to do. If you want free labor times, this is what you're doing. I'm not giving you that. And the customer's like, well, how much do you charge to put a radiator in? I said, I don't know, somewhere between $500 and $1,300. Oh, can I drive it up there and you can look at it? I'm like, no. I said, you just want to know what it's going to cost. So the other guy, you can tell him. I'm like, I'm not doing that, dude. I'm not, then there was his wife or somebody else is yelling in the background. I said, I can't hear you. And I just hung up on him. Dude, if you call somebody and you have a bunch of stuff going on in the background and I say, I can't hear you, call me back later. That means that you're kind of a scumbag, dude. Those people get on my nerves, man. Like, I'm not in the best area. I have people call me all the time. I'll have a female call me asking me all this stuff for estimates, and I'm trying to get information so I can give her a ballpark idea of what it's going to cost and how our process works. And the person that is actually wants to know the information is the freaking boyfriend or baby daddy, whoever it is next to them in the car, in the freaking house, and they won't get on the phone. And they just keep on playing middleman. And it's to the point where I'm like, hey, when you guys are serious, have the person that owns the car call me back and I'll try to walk them through it. I'm not wasting my time, dude. I don't have time for terrible people that I don't want in my shop. God, man, get on my soapbox a little bit. And that really irritated the crap out of me. So don't be doing that stuff, man. Come on, dude. My overhead's so low because I don't pay for anything. I just rely on a bunch of other people to run my own business for me. Guy's got a 5-gallon bucket full of hammers and vice grips going out running a mobile mechanic business, hacking cars together, collecting money. If it's not fixed, block them. Who cares, right? Move on to the next Joe Schmo that has no money and can't afford the proper person to fix their car. And that's what made me mad. Like, I had a mobile business for like 2 years-ish, and it was easy. There was only one other person in my area that had a website, Google page, like good reviews, been in business, paid our insurance, paid our taxes, all that stuff, had proper shop management software, shopware, by the way. And, but yeah, like the standards are so low, customer expectations are so easy to meet and exceed because they're like, well, maybe he'll show up. Oh, he showed up. I guess we're doing good, right? The mobile business is blowing up like crazy. And it's just a bunch of guys. I love the cards you see or the AI generated photos. to run their business, to keep on posting in the community pages. It's like mobile mechanic, rotors, brakes, check engine light, diagnostic, then a bunch of misspelled words because the AI made it and they didn't fix it. Pressure washing, trash hauling, trash can cleaning, handyman. What are you doing? Like, what? It drives me nuts, dude. It's always the same 10 people that post, I'm looking for a mechanic to fix my whatever. It's the same 10 people all the time. I'm like, dude, you guys are killing me. But, all right. That was a fun little conversation, even though it's one-sided. Talk to you later. Don't put your hand anywhere you wouldn't put your pecker. Words of advice, right? Because that kind of hurt. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Later.